What's happening, guys? Today I want to talk about if eating more protein is a waste. And the reason I want to talk about this is a fairly common question, and we often will hear like you can only eat so much protein at one time, or you can only absorb so much protein at one time. And it's kind of the wrong question. I mean, you're going to absorb everything no matter what. I think the question that's trying to be asked is how much protein can be used in one sitting for anabolism, right? Like you can only use so much at one time to support muscle protein synthesis. Well, this is true, and it kind of depends on your training experience, how much you weigh, how much you're utilizing, all that type of stuff. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but there seems to be some truth that you can only utilize so much protein at one sitting to be used for anabolism. And this is probably anywhere between like 20 to 40, depending on many, many different factors. But we have to understand that just because you're not going to use it towards anabolism doesn't mean that the rest of it just goes to waste or doesn't get absorbed. Right? It gets absorbed. You absorb everything. If you didn't, you'd be in big trouble. But you just don't use it all towards anabolism, as I'm trying to say. But the thing is, there's more benefits to protein than just anabolism or muscle protein synthesis, and we can kind of get trapped in this. All right, so while sure, there's an upper limit into how much we can possibly take in at one time, and it probably makes sense to spread out our protein a little bit more evenly into maybe 4 or 5 sittings throughout a day to try to maximize that kind of upper echelon of protein in a sitting to maximize our muscle protein synthesis in a day, especially for a bodybuilder. It makes a lot of sense, but there's other benefits, all right? More protein is going to be more satiating, so especially if calories are low and you're really hungry, eating more protein is going to help you feel fuller, so there's benefit to that. All right, the thermic effect of protein, I talk about it all the time and I'm going to continue to do it. It's extremely high. It's way higher than any other macronutrient. Again, it's about 30% of what you eat from protein gets utilized by the body, just going through all the different processes inside your body. And that's a big deal because fats are only about 2 or 3%, carbs are about 5 to 8%. So you're going to burn a lot more calories through the thermic effect of food just by eating more protein. All right, so there's the benefit of that. It's also in a caloric deficit, it's protein sparing. All right, so it's going to help you hold on to the muscle that you do have. All right, so while research may show that it's around like 0.82 grams per pound of body weight that can be used to build muscle, that doesn't mean that we should only do that. That doesn't mean that there's no benefits of going higher. For one, I think it makes sense to try to make sure that we're maximizing as much protein as we can. So if we can go around a gram per pound, we're kind of making sure that we're getting enough. And then there's all the other benefits that I just talked about. So while sure, you may not use it for anabolism, that doesn't mean there's no point, and that doesn't mean that you're not utilizing that protein. It's just for different reasons. So I wanted to kind of throw that out there and dispel some of the kind of myths that I hear around protein and why I typically recommend a higher protein intake for the majority of people, just kind of depending on a lot of different factors. So hopefully that makes sense. Any questions, let me know, and I will talk to you later.
I'm addicted to the love that you're giving. Every minute, every day I've been craving.